We have got new information.
We've got new information.
In this video, we're going to tell you about an email that has changed a lot.
And I remember sitting there reading it and like...
Well, what this guy did is cheating.
What?
This is the first time we've been told there was a reason the game was cut short.
This person probably is guilty in some way as well.
All right, mate, how you doing? Welcome back to another video. This is a continuation off the back of the last video we made about the F2. We mentioned that we had an email that was sent to us that
new evidence
is in our possession that changes everything, doesn't change everything. It's about one specific incident. It's about the incident we've talked about a lot. It's about the Wembley Cup 2018 group stage incident that we alluded to not just in the last video, but in the video before that, all about why the Wembley Cup's not continuing.
Do you think we should maybe paint the picture of exactly what happened for anyone who's seen this video without a bit of context, just very quickly?
We will. Yeah, okay. So basically, a couple of years ago, Wembley Cup group stage, there's a game between the F2 and XO. It's a group stage game which helps you work out who you're going to get in terms of a legend to join your team and who you're going to play at the final at Wembley Stadium. F2's team full of not just the F2, Jeremy and Billy, but also some really good footballers. They had a goalkeeper who played National League at the time, played for Hemel Hempstead in goal.
Yep.
They had a guy who was the England non-league top goal scorer.
They had some very good players.
Yeah.
There's some very, very good players.
And they had a few Love Island guys and also good players. And they're playing the XO, who are kind of the joke team of the tournament. They weren't a real football team. They didn't have True Geordie on that day, but they had Stephen Trice, Lawrence McKenna.
They had some good players.
They had a couple of good players, like the Kante guy, Leroy is really good.
Very good.
Cam Kirkham's actually quite good.
Yeah, it's handy.
There's a couple of them. Elliot Hackney.
Yeah, he's a handy player.
But they were the underdogs for sure. If not because of football, but because of like the brands, if you like. Anyway, XO, through complete credit to themselves, find themselves 1-0 up in the game, which was quite funny. Everyone was laughing. It was because F2 were like, they take themselves very seriously.
Happening. XO have taken the lead. Oh my word. Sensational scenes.
Final whistle goes, XO win against all odds, it seemed. Then the F2, I believe, we'll go on to in a minute, a bit more information, but through seeing the referees watch, saw the second half, I think both games supposed to be 20-minute halves, and the second half was only 17 minutes. I think it's that.
It was either that or it was meant to be 15 minutes and it was a few minutes short of 15.
It was definitely
I can't
2 to
honestly
3
remember.
minutes.
We'll have to check that.
30 minutes, 100 million percent. 100 million percent. Saw his watch, it was 13 minutes when he's watching.
He's still kicking off here. They've gone straight to the ref.
He saw that.
Ultimately, what happened is the F2 were trying to get back in the game to level it up and the ref blew the whistle. I don't know whether I remember thinking it felt like a shorter period, but they complained that the game hadn't gone on for long enough. And then 100% we verified that it hadn't.
We did that by looking at the footage.
How long the footage
obviously been filming the whole game. We knew. So we knew. Okay.
Yep.
The F2 had a very, and still have, a very valid complaint about that happening. No one has ever denied that. I mentioned in the last video, as soon as I found out what had happened, I literally stood next to the F2 and made it very clear I wanted to solve this issue for them.
100%.
Because I would have been the same if it happened to hashtag.
Yep.
What we have maintained since day one, and where we've been offended, if you like, is that it was implied by Jeremy and a little bit by Billy on the day that that was deliberate. That we, i.e. me and you, or hashtag or the organisers,
some conspiracy
had told
or
them if the F2 are winning, if the F2 are losing, end the game early because it would be great. It'd be great to see. I've already explained why that doesn't make any sense for us. We wouldn't have wanted that to happen because it gave them an advantage in the tournament. The F2 had a valid complaint. We didn't know why it happened. And I was fuming with the referee that what we thought had done was just make a cock up. I don't even know how you make that. And I said at the time,
I couldn't get my head around is that how did this happen? And obviously there was a huge commotion from the F2 who were angry. Did they handle that very well? No, but they were very, it led to huge delays, which we talked about in the last video, had massive ramifications for the whole series.
Yeah, and big ramification with my relationship with the F2, because they really felt I'd done that to them, which was completely unfair.
It was very unfair because we were all working very, very hard to build a very good event and a good project. But what we were trying to get to the bottom of it, primarily, one, because we obviously want a fair tournament, but two, when the F2 were kicking off like they were, we weren't going to get anywhere. We had to solve this problem. So ultimately, they were so enraged and they felt like there was this conspiracy that just did not exist. We had to try and way of pacifying them and finding a solution. So we tried to get to the bottom of it. And the best we could get from the refs on the day was, I think maybe I pressed the stopwatch early. So the boys were doing the final warm-up. One of the refs told me, I think I might have accidentally started the stopwatch early. So that was for me like, okay, I don't really know how you do that, because surely the last thing a ref does before you start is you go, here we go, begin.
Yeah.
But at least that was some practical example of how physically the act of a referee looking, thinking it was time when it wasn't, could happen. I tried to relay that as a possible scenario. They weren't entirely convinced. So we had that whole situation where we had to try and find a way of appeasing them, which was that to keep them involved in the series, we didn't have the time to physically replay the game. We made the decision that we would make a statement on camera, which you didn't want to be involved in, where we sat there and said, look, the F2 graciously, which unfortunately wasn't that graciously in real life, accept that they've lost. What good lads the F2 are, let's move on from it. But that wasn't really what happened in the back end.
Now, we're covering a lot of our ground here, and I think it's important that we have got new information.
We've got new information.
In this video, we're going to tell you about an email that has changed a lot. But just to be clear, there was a few things we suggested at the time. I think one point I said, why don't you just play those 3 minutes, play those 5 minutes,
we did suggest that.
And so many hours passed with complaints that seemed to no longer be an option. The F2 were actually pushing for a replay. They wanted to rematch the game. Then I think they wanted to replay the second half. I argued also that's unfair on XO, because they've got to 3 minutes left, legit. So why don't you just play the last 3 minutes?
Yeah.
No one had an issue with that, but we couldn't get them to agree.
No.
Anyway, it all went into madness. 2 years has passed. It's just one of these things. It led to Jeremy saying silly things in post-match interviews, whatever.
Shame.
Right? We make that video, not the last one, the one 2 videos ago about the Wembley Cup. Okay? And Seb receives an email. Seb looks after our emails. That is unbelievable.
I couldn't believe it. I got it. And what time is it? I got it quite late at night, I think. Or I saw it late at night. It was actually sent at 19 minutes past 7 on the 15th of August.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there reading it and like, oh my God. I can't remember if I screenshot it to you or I forwarded it to you. I think I messaged you. I said, Spen, look at this email I've just sent you now.
And I was like, so here's what we're going to say. We're not going to name the person who sent the email because he's asked not to be named.
Yeah.
But fair play to you for sending us this. I kind of wish you sent it to us 2 years ago. I'm not going to lie. Because it'd been much more useful information then. But I just want to say, like, I hope you guys trust
Well, no, do you know what
I say.
I wish you'd just spoken up at the time.
Well, that would have been better.
That would have been handy.
That's what we needed.
Because it could have changed an awful lot of history. Ultimately, I think the relationship's gone where it's gone because of a number of reasons, but that could have changed the context of the entire Wembley Cup.
So essentially, yeah, I agree. I mean, fair play for coming forward now, but like...
Bit late.
it's not that much use to us apart from this video
Yeah,
now. And
true.
if the F2 are watching, like, just to be clear... We were always on your side. Like, you might not feel that way.
You never believe it,
but we
yeah.
were always trying to get you the fair game, and you just didn't get it. And you were unfair. It was unfair that you didn't get it, but it was nothing to do with us. And this proves that once and for all, if our word didn't already prove it. And
just read it out, Spen.
so what I'll say is this guy, we're not going to name him, but he was part of the officiating team on the day, so the refereeing team. He wasn't the ref in this game, but he was part of it. But the person that we're talking about in this video really is the referee of the F2XO game.
So he's not the one who sent the email. He's been talked about by someone else who sent the email, who was there.
He was working on the day. This is verified. We've checked it. The guy who sent this has also included the call sheet from the day, which proves his email was in there and he is legit. This is not made up.
Yeah, it's not just someone random trying to cause drama.
YouTube beef. This is actually what happened. So I'm going to read it out, okay? To whom it may concern, I've just watched the video on Spencer FC channel titled What Happened to the Wembley Cup and anticipated a follow-up video regarding the situation with the F2. We said we were going to do that. Yep. I was part of the group stage shoot as one of the referees. See proof attached. He shows the call sheet and therefore know about the controversy with the F2 versus XO game being cut short. I was wondering if you'd be interested in hearing the side of one of the referees. Obviously we are. Thanks for sending us 2 years too late. Because we were like, we don't want to disrespect people, and the officials, the proper officials, FA officials, the ref at non-league, even higher than that, I think some of them, we were kind of looking at them like, what the hell are you playing at, mate? This isn't cool. And did they take the Wembley Cup seriously enough? I mean, this email kind of makes me think they didn't.
Well, no, but that's one of the things that is most frustrating is that, you know, when people who were trying to detract from the Wembley Cup would say it's a made-up tournament, you're making your own rules up. Yes, but we use official referees. Same for even the hashtag games back in the day. Division 1 days, Chapter 1 days, we got FA accredited refs every single time because, we're doing our own thing, but it's still football.
Obviously, refs make mistakes. I remember in the Palmers game, there was
this is different.
Because there was like an offside that Smith didn't agree with. It's like, I'm not saying the ref can't be wrong.
Yeah.
These are, at the end of the day, they're not the best refs in the world. They ref at a good level of football, but they're not faultless. But what this guy did is cheating, ultimately, as you're going to find out. So I was not part of the game where the incident took place. However, I am aware of the events leading up to it. And the reason why the referee did what he did.
At this point was where I'm like...
So this is the first time we've been told there was a reason the game was cut short. I.e., it wasn't by accident.
Genuinely, hand on my heart, when we left the situation... And until this moment, I'm of the opinion that a referee has made a very incompetent mistake.
That's what I
just
thought.
Caused us huge inconvenience, huge drama, huge aggravation that was all avoidable. And I'm like, what?
And I was saying to them at the time, like I wasn't saying a jokey way because I was fuming at the time, but I was like, you've had a stinker, mate. You've had a shocker. You don't know how much you've hurt me here.
Yeah, I know.
Because these guys think I've done this now.
I know.
So like, it wasn't a stinker. It was a deliberate act.
Well, let's finish this.
So, I know why the referee did what he did. I went to that shoot with this is his words, guys. This is his words.
Maybe it's worth saying at this point, we do not know this guy. We'd never spoken to him before this day and have never spoken to him since. We had to verify his involvement. So this is not somebody we know. Someone who's emailed us, not anonymously, because he's given his name. We're just choosing to keep it anonymous.
Yeah.
This is someone who's just messaging us out of a desire to reveal what he's revealing.
So he said, I went to the shoot with a lot of respect for the F2. However, it went completely out of the window with the way they handled it, whereas my respect for both Spencer and Seb grew enormously. Not my words.
The words of Top Gear magazine.
This is what this guy's saying, okay? During the game in question, the referee received a lot of chat from the F2 players, questioning his decisions and just general moaning. At this point, I jump in. I do that in every single game I play.
Yeah.
Okay?
I always do that.
We've already said all we want to say about the F2.
Yeah.
This, unless they were saying something particularly rude or offensive, like,
just football.
I do it in every game I
It's just
play.
football. It's just
Every
football.
ref hates me usually.
Yeah.
At half-time, all the referees were in a group and talking about the first half. This is at half-time of F2 versus XO. The linesman, including this guy, and the ref officiating are chatting. During this chat, which the referee in the middle said he was so annoyed by the F2 players that he wanted them to lose and was going to cut the game short.
Now, first of all, when I read that, I was obviously incredibly intrigued, but I was all of a sudden just very disappointed because, yes, I'm a competitive person on the football pitch. We've already spoken about how we didn't have this big agenda against the F2, but if I want hashtag to do well or win anything in my life, I want it to be on merit. And when you hear a referee doing stuff like that, whether I was living in a dream world or not, I did genuinely, and I think I still do, believe that referees somehow find a way to be impartial. But all of a sudden, I now think that's a bit of a facade and that realistically, they're human beings and they have feelings and emotions. And unfortunately, this guy has let that get the better of him. But it does open up to when people say, oh, does Howard Webb give more penalties for Man United? Or whatever referee give more penalties against Arsenal, whatever. Maybe they do, Spen. Maybe they do.
Well, yeah, and I mean, listen, I'm going to read on a little bit more before I say something else. The second half then started, and me talking to another ref didn't think anything of this comment until he blew the whistle for full time, and we checked that only 13 minutes of the 15 had been played.
It was that, yeah.
It was 15 it was supposed to be. This is where it gets really bad. I was then told to clear my watches of the stopwatch so that there was no proof of anything. Until the F2 boys noticed the referee's watch that had 2 minutes cut. At that point, they went to check their footage, and the 2-hour delay began. As we mentioned, there's a big delay, which is where you'll know a lot more about what happened in the room. So forget what happened in the room. Forget the F2 stuff.
Yeah, past that.
Forget the fact that they sometimes are unpleasant. This is cheating.
Yep.
So essentially, everything that Jeremy has said may have happened, kind of did, but not by us. And I don't condone it in any way. I think it's unacceptable what this referee's done. And this email's kind of trying to say it was because the F2 team were being dicks on the pitch. Like, that doesn't matter. Give them a yellow card. Like, if a player's been a dick, give them a yellow card.
You've got rules there to enforce.
But, you can't do that.
You can't do this.
So, as much as this email does back up a lot of what we've said with regards to the F2 not being pleasant to deal with, and, literally these refs turned up being fans of the F2 and left hating them, that's something the F2 have got to deal with. It doesn't excuse this. No. It doesn't excuse this. I was not involved in this in any way, shape or form. I would honestly think I was as much a victim of this as the F2 were because of what the F2 threw at me.
100%.
Right? But I do apologise because it was on my watch, ultimately. I didn't hire that ref. I didn't know anything about him. I hadn't even said a word to him. And all I know is that he was an official ref. And trust me, all the refs we got in for every level were proper refs that were reffing games that are like FA Cup games, like proper games.
Yeah, high level FA games.
So here's the thing, right? I don't currently know the name of that referee. We can find it out.
We're going to find out, and we're going to have to tell the FA.
This referee, so I've looked into it. The actual ability to report referees, this sort of thing, is criminally hard to do. It's really hard. All you can do in actual matches, like league matches, is give them a bad mark, and then the FA can choose whether they go further with it. In terms of me Googling, how can I report a referee for match fixing is the wrong word, but cheating, whatever, it doesn't exist as a thing. So this is my message to anyone from the FA watching. Like, we have proof of someone who's probably still refereeing games.
Well, hang on. What I'll say is this. Let's be totally honest on this. We have someone's report. We don't have proof.
It matches a lot of the evidence.
No, of course it does. But we don't have proof.
There should be an investigation.
Yeah, there should be an investigation. And ultimately, we now have a duty as people who run a football club, but also as people who put this competition on, to respect to the F2, but to the respect to football, because this referee has probably gone on to referee hundreds of games since then, that we have to give the FA the opportunity to investigate it. Because sadly, he's not killed anyone here, but you can't have a referee out there doing that.
No, you can't.
You can't have it.
And here's the reason. One of the reasons that reporting ability doesn't exist, right, is because everyone...
Because they abuse it. People make up stuff because they've got upset about decisions.
Exactly. Whenever a referee does something that the team doesn't like, they think they're the worst ref in the world. And listen, I've said things about referees in the past, and I've spoken to referees about it, and they get offended if you ever, because it's like a goalkeeper union. They're all together, right? I want to say I have so much respect for referees. Like, the job they do in general
very difficult.
is unbelievable.
I would never want to do it.
Particularly linesmen. I'm talking about non-league. We haven't got VAR.
Yeah.
Like, you have to actually have eyes looking in two directions. I have so much respect for it, and any referees watching this, I'm not against referees. I think what you do largely is amazing.
But here's what I think. The referees will be completely behind us on this. I agree. Because just like, again, I hate using golf references all the time. If there's a cheat found in golf, the whole game of golf turns against them. Because golf is a self-policing sport. Exactly. Referees rely on integrity. People like this are letting down all the referees that take all that stick, all that nonsense from all the people that you get in non-league football, standard league football, all that stick you get. And then to have someone out there doing stuff like that, to discredit them, they all turn on him, in my opinion.
And this... Yeah, it's a real shame because refs do great stuff and they do get unfair stick, but this is the worst thing a referee can do, like, in terms of football.
Yeah, of course it is.
And I hope the referees watching this don't look at this as an attack on referees. It's an attack.
It's not an attack on referees.
It's not even an attack. It's exposing one ref. Yeah. Who, this might be the only thing he's done like this ever, but it's one too many.
Yeah,
it's one too many. They've got to be zero tolerance on this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So let's finish the email.
Yep.
I am in no way condoning what he did, and he should have had more integrity to play the game as instructed rather than making it about him. But the F2 certainly didn't help the situation. This also does mean to say that, to my knowledge, #United had absolutely nothing to do with the situation at hand. We've already explained that. That this referee acted entirely alone. So the comment about refs being on Spencer's payroll was null and void. Like, I was honestly not worried about that because I don't think anyone's ever taken that seriously from day one. He finishes the email by saying, on the off chance that you actually see this email and reference it, I'm more than happy for you to use it as part of this account. However, I would ask to remain anonymous if you did. So we've respected that. We're not going to name this person. Once again, I thank you for coming forward. Jonathan. No, it's not his name.
Definitely not his name.
I thank you for coming forward. I do wish you'd raised it at the time. Like, it would have made my life a lot easier, quite frankly. And I'm sure the F2 would have appreciated it as well. But you did come forward at the end of the day. The referee in question has had it's not even a stinker, has really let himself down.
I don't think he should be a referee anymore.
I don't think he should be allowed to referee children's football.
No, I don't think you should be allowed to referee football.
No.
Full stop. The thing about this, and I don't want to be seen to be tapping ourselves on the back, because it's not my intention here. It's just to reinforce a point we've made a few times across these videos that are linked together, is that, do you really think that we'd have just deleted this email if, like, this potentially lets people assume that Jeremy was right all along, right? If you probably look at it, you don't see that realistically, but you show they've had a point in what they were actually arguing about, just the way they did it was bad. But if we really were trying to, like, only appear like everything's in our way, it's all roses from our side, or not from our side, but it's all like Jeremy had nothing to complain about whatsoever, it's complete nonsense, we just never have brought this up. We just never pretend this email would never exist. But here we are, going through it because it's the right thing to do.
But it's how things are supposed to be done. Like I said, I'm apologising on behalf of this event because it was my event, right? Yep. I had absolutely nothing to do with it. It literally not even 0.1%. This guy has literally, this is what's really annoyed me, is maybe this guy thought he was at a YouTuber thing, it's just a kickabout, and these guys are a bunch of mugs and do it. Doesn't matter. If you've been bought in and paid.
He was wearing the badge span, he had the FA badge on.
The FA badge on. And also, it's really like, I know people are not going to do all the research and stuff and they get involved in these things and they don't always know, and sometimes they'll turn up at Wembley Cup and they'll see 30,000 people, this is actually a proper thing. Like, I can't expect everyone to know everything about all the YouTubers and stuff, but you just got to do your job properly.
One good thing I'm going to say, I think we've covered everything there. I'm just glad that the F2 did actually end up winning the Wembley Cup, because if they hadn't, this would have undermined the entire thing. Thankfully, they still won. They won the event, because if Hashtag had won it and this had come out, then it would have undermined our victory, or anyone else's, or XO's, if they'd gone on to beat F2 and then win the final. The F2 still won the competition. It never cost them in the end, even with a result that is clearly... I mean, would they have ever scored in the last few minutes? Who knows?
As I've said all along, if you actually look at it from footballing perspective, the referee helped them. Because if they'd equalised, they would have got a worse draft pick.
True.
Trezeguet scored the winning goal.
They would have played a different team.
The man they had the pick. They earned that pick. He scores the goal that knocks Rebel out. Well, the keeper had it was a bit of an own goal.
But equally, they would have not played Rebel at the beginning. They might have played us. Yeah. Who we beat them 3-0, I think, in our group.
We did beat them 3-0. Exactly. So listen, this is... No one's... Just to make one thing clear, F2 aren't talking to us about this. There's no messages flying back. They're probably way over it as well.
I'm sure they're very more than over it.
And as I've mentioned in previous videos, this isn't... Let's bring this all up. This isn't go and tweet F2. Like, there's one person this video is about, and it's about a really poor referee who's let us down. And he doesn't represent all of referees.
Here's what I'm going to say as well. I've not thought this until now. Not only should this guy brought this up before then, but I think all the linesmen are complicit.
Yeah, they are. Well, no, he's saying that the guy said they didn't. He's saying they didn't take it seriously.
No.
Once the whistle goes,
when they've been asked to clear their stopwatches,
clear watches is so dodgy.
All of a sudden they've got to say, "Hang on, I'm being asked here to intentionally cause or cheating, right, from the referee." So this person probably is guilty in some way as well. If you're an accredited referee, you've got to hold yourself to a higher standard.
But how often do you see stuff like that in all walks of life? You know, you take the easy way out. Someone does something you don't approve of, but they're in your clique or your social circle, and you just let it happen. Like, let this be a message to anyone watching. It doesn't have to be anything to do with football refereeing. If you see something that's wrong, and we're talking about loads of other things in life right now, like Black Lives Matter and social injustice. Like, if you see something that's wrong at the time, and and this guy knew, he says in his email he knew it was wrong at the time, speak up. Right? Don't let it happen. And don't send the email 2 years later, as much as I appreciate it, because the damage is done. Like, and I'm not being funny. Like, and this goes for Jeremy as well, right? Because like I say, Jeremy has had a whole load of backlash off the back of this, right? Whilst it was deserved, he still had to deal with a lot of stuff. I had to deal with a lot of stuff on the back of stuff that was said about me. Luckily, we're both mentally strong enough that we dealt with it in a good way. But it wouldn't be that unheard of for someone to do something crazy off the back of this sort of abuse that Jeremy's received. The video's been made about him. Yeah, true. I'm sure tweets and Instagram posts and all this stuff he's probably had. Yeah. That's why I once again reiterate, I don't want anyone doing that on my behalf. I don't want anyone doing anything negative on my behalf. And the stuff that I had to deal with mentally, no one was really throwing stuff at me, but there was people saying stuff and asking questions of my professionalism that really, really hurt. And luckily, I was okay with it. But some people won't be. So if you see something like this happen, just say something. Do the right thing. Don't put yourself in any physical danger, but take an L in the short term to make the right thing happen. If you're a referee and you've got to admit someone I work with done something wrong, or it could be in the workplace, it could be at school, wherever, speak up, because it does end up coming out eventually. The truth has outed. We didn't expect to get this email. No. It's just something that happened as a result of us making these sit-down chats. I'm glad we have got it.
Yeah, I'm glad we got it as well.
So hopefully, if there's anything else out there we need to know, will come to us as a result of these videos. But we're going to end the video there, guys, and that is going to probably be the end of our Wembley Cup videos, maybe forever, I don't know. Whether that comes back is another question, as we've mentioned, but the drama is done. I'm sealing the bag. If someone else wants to make something about it in their own perspective, let them do it. Unless there's something I need to answer, I'm staying out of it. Okay? You feel like you've got everything off your chest?
Yeah, I do. What the final thing I'll say on it is the Wembley Cup has overwhelmingly been one of the best things I've ever been involved in my entire life. Incredibly proud of the project we put on. Incredibly indebted to EE for backing your vision from the beginning. Giving me some of the best memories I've ever had in football, let alone in my life, right? So last thing is, now it's over, I want to always remember the Wembley Cup for the amazing thing it was, not for what one person or a few unsavoury things that happened in the final series. It was amazing. EE smashed it. I'll always be grateful to them for supporting the vision of it. everyone that spoiled the content, all the creators that got involved, all the people that worked behind the scenes. It was amazing. So I think if we're signing off talking Wembley Cup, it should be a massive, that was sick, awesome, and just thank you to everyone involved because it was brilliant.
100% agree. I've got 2 Wembley Cup shirts up on the wall. I've got the original Wembley Cup trophy up there. Think of the moments, shout out to Bateson, for his moment when his shorts falling down. Shout out to JJ Kocher for nutmegging me in front of 20,000 people. Shout out to you for scoring the penalty that you got backed when there's bloody Robert Perez and all these people on the pitch, but we back you to take the penalty. Shout out to the F2 because as much as I haven't enjoyed it,
the Wembley Cup definitely would have been the same without them, would it?
They were part of every single Wembley Cup, and they were even on my team in the first one. And there was some really positive moments there. So shout out to the
Shout out Theo Baker for scoring the best goal in Wembley Cup history.
And the most. I think he's the top goal scorer in Wembley Cup history. Shout out to Daniel Cutting for doing a madness. Shout out to Anis and Gibb and Oakelfish for playing their first ever 11-a-side game of football at Wembley Stadium, which is unreal.
There's so many people to mention them all.
Go on. Shout out to the Sidemen. None of it would have happened without the Sidemen, the first one.
And everybody at Poke, the hardworking people. There's many you could name at Poke, the EE agency. Tim Fletcher's one that rings to mind, especially in the latter years, who put in above and beyond, dealt with a lot of nonsense from a lot of different people to get that stuff together. There's numerous people at Poke. We could name the whole team.
Nick Farnhill.
You know who you are. Exactly. Nick's one of them.
Nick Farnhill's the main man that was there from the beginning. Matt Roberts.
Massively.
Matt actually emailed me off the back of the first Wembley Cup video he did, and he said it was really good. And he enjoyed
great.
it.
That's good to hear.
Shout out to Tanya. Matt. Tanya, you know who you are.
There's so many. It would be criminal to try and go through them all off the cuff because we'd forget a few.
Yeah.
But Poke, Cake, Publicis, all those guys.
Joe Weller.
Matt Stevenson at EE himself. Spencer McHugh from the early days. Mark Alera more recently.
Joe Weller played a big part.
We have to do them all now, aren't we?
Yeah. Wait, if I haven't said you, I apologise.
Yeah.
But any legend that ever played for us, like Steven Gerrard, would joke of a man. How much better it was than
I would love to spend 2 minutes talking about how much respect I have for Steven Gerrard in every asset of his existence.
Another video, maybe.
I'm just in love with Steven Gerrard, basically.
Yeah, that's your own issue. You deal with that in your own time. But thank you to you, most of all, guys. The money we raised for charity, the views we got, the growth that my channel experienced off the back of it. None of that would have been possible without the YouTubers that collaborated, the players that played, but most importantly, the people that watched it. It was challenging at times. It was distressing at moments, but Seb and I definitely agree that even with everything said and done, it's the best thing we've probably ever done outside of #United, which for me, whilst not being for everyone and having the same mass appeal, is the thing I'm most proud of that we've started and we're not even anywhere near getting started with.
Should we tell them about Wembley Cup next year yet or not?
Don't, because there is no plan currently, guys. There is no plan. Drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed it, though. Let us know in the comments below, as ever, what else you'd like to see me and Seb talk about. Subscribe for more. Check out Seb's channel, Seb on Golf. Links in the description. If you like golf, or if you don't like golf, just go and watch it and give him a sub. Until next time, see you when you're older. Don't go changing. Don't forget to hashtag it.